Jorge from the Big Bang Podcast. I'm here with my co-host Adrian. So today's episode is going to be about a perplexing question, but one I think that I don't think a lot of people even discuss. So, are we living in a simulation?
Are we living in World of Warcraft?
Are we living in the Matrix without all the cheat codes of the Matrix?
Maybe there are cheat codes.
I know, man. So why are we talking about this? Well, a couple of weeks ago, Elon Musk of all people made headlines because while he was at the Recode conference, I believe one of the co-founders of a very popular media site asked him a question about basically, what do you think? If we're living in a simulation or whatnot? And he responded by saying that he thinks we have a 1 in a billionth chance that we are living in a simulation. Why? His argument is that if you look at the past 4 years, or 40 years, 40 years, since we created the first video game called Pong up until now, pretty much video games are somewhat undistinguishable from reality. Obviously, they're programmed. they do what we program to do, but I mean, it's he thoroughly believes that we are living a simulation.
He really believes it?
That's his response.
Because I saw the interview and it was like, I don't know, I think people blew it out of proportion just because he said it.
No, they have to.
I mean,
they have to because
even when he was saying it, he was like, well, there is a chance, but
yeah.
he wasn't like,
well,
I'm pretty sure there's...
By what he said, it's like he's saying we are, but he still has like a doubt, obviously. I mean, and obviously because people are making it more than it is, but I mean, have you ever heard about this question before?
I probably asked it by myself.
Yeah, me too. I mean, when I saw The Matrix a long time ago, it really got me thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think about it like we are living in a post-human thing and somebody else is like somebody's our puppet. I saw it as more of a like a metaphor, but I've heard about this question from a guy called Nick Bostrom, who also has been writing and talking about artificial intelligence and whatnot for almost a decade now, and he came up with this. He came up with the initial hypothesis, which Elon Musk was asked about. But anyway, I mean, do you believe that we're a set of bits on someone else's computer?
Yeah. Are we living in a simulation? The other day I was thinking about my old days in World of Warcraft, and I think that was part of the equation, that if we're able to do something like World of Warcraft, why isn't someone able to do that to us? Yeah, and I mean, the similarities are very stupid. But I mean, in World of Warcraft, you need to get to a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
You get rewards as you level up, but the more you level up, the harder it is to level up, to get to the next level. So I associated that with age. The first years you go by pretty fast, you learn a few things, but once you get to a certain level, everything gets harder. And if you don't want to quest, you can grind, which is just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again to get something that you want, which I saw as 9 to 5. A 9 to 5 job where you're doing something you don't want to do or is tedious, but at the end of your little adventure that you don't want to do, you get a reward. Was it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. Mostly it's going to be a reward. It's going to be an epic sword, an epic armor, or an epic mount that other people will see and be like, oh, that guy has a cool weapon or cool armor. I mean, it's primarily showing off.
Mm-hmm.
which is the same thing in the real world. You work, you buy stuff to show off, or so that other people are, oh, he has the newest iPhone, oh, he has a blah, blah, blah. He has a new car, a new mount car. And the other thing is Quest. There are NPCs, non-playable characters, that give you quests. Like, I need 10 sacks of spider venom for my stew or soup, but in those days it was called stew. And I mean, there's a lot of people who get. I mean, if you go to the DMV, you need to get your driver license. You need to stand over there. You need to go over there. I mean, it's the same thing. The quests are the same thing as in real life. So why isn't this a simulation or a game? I mean, either it just it gets too complicated to explain. But we are creating it. Maybe someone created it
for us.
Yeah, what if the characters in World of Warcraft eventually have they are advanced AI?
Yeah.
And they create their own world, and then before you know it, you have a character on World of Warcraft, and he's creating a character for a game he plays when you're not playing him.
Yeah.
I think that's possible. Eventually, it might happen. So, is all of these like pixels? Are we in a? If I break a phone, it's gonna shatter into a lot of small pieces.
Yeah.
Just like pixels.
Yeah.
So maybe it shatters that way because our render engine can only do pixels. Maybe in real life things shatter differently.
Yeah, how can we prove that we are living in a simulation? Like in the Matrix, like if we were living in the Matrix, right? But if you remember the movie The Matrix, there was always glitches.
Yeah.
Like they would say like a black cat, or I mean that's kind of like the hints that they give you. Stuff like that, something that didn't change color or something, and that's how they would say that there's been a glitch, and therefore like a hacking per se.
Yeah.
In programming language, but here like today, like in our case, like how do we prove that we're living in a freaking simulation?
I think you can prove it. Maybe if you die, you wake up, but I mean it's a risky way to prove it.
Yeah, that's the first one. Like, okay, let me shoot myself, or let me throw myself off fucking buildings.
Yeah, but then you can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
So there's no point. Or I mean, there are some things that can be attributed to being glitches, like deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the scientific explanation is that
like stupid things like I don't know, like yesterday. Like yesterday I had a press conference, and there was invitation to media members, and my buddy who was also with me, right after we finished, he told me like something like, he was like, "Oh, I gotta tell you something really crazy." He's like, "I really believe in this type of stuff, but this is what happened." He said, so we invited a lot of media members were invited, but 8 of them did not make it because all of them supposedly got sick.
What?
They were all confirmed to be here. They didn't make it because they were all sick. And I said, well, that's fucking insane. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? Is that really an excuse? Or, when you can say maybe it's an excuse when it's 2 people, but when 8 people make the same excuse, you're like, I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's like when a video game comes out and people are like, "Hey, teach, I'm not gonna be able to make it today because I'm sick."
Yeah.
Some teachers just go like, "You know what? There's no class tomorrow because all of you are gonna be sick because there's a new game coming out."
I mean, it's like randomness, stuff like that. It's the things that can tell us that we're not living in a simulation.
Why?
The stuff that's not programmed. I mean, if somebody programmed my situation yesterday, It's like, oh, they made it. They okay, so they're gonna have a press conference. I'm gonna program all these motherfuckers to not show up.
Well,
That will throw them off.
but that's if they are NPCs.
NPC. I mean, it's ridiculous, but
Those guys didn't want to go. You can't get 8 people sick just like that.
I mean, they were confirmed. I mean, I wasn't the guy who was making the invitations, so when I showed up to the press conference, I couldn't tell who was who. I was just there, just to sit and talk and do whatever, and I really didn't know anybody. So for me, it was like I don't know you people, so I don't know what to expect. But when my buddy told me, I was like, "Really, 8 fucking people didn't show up?" Because I was asking like like who showed up, like which media channel showed up, and he's like, well, all these guys didn't make it because da, 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 da. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Because they were sick.
They called in sick. I'm like, really?
That day they called in sick.
That's insane.
That's a lie. Not you guys, them. It's a fucking lie.
How can we know that we're not living in a simulation?
That we're not? I don't know, but because this could be it could be a very complex simulation.
See, like the first thing that has to happen in order to this, to us being a simulation is that somehow some other civilization mastered or figured out a way to make to make AI conscious. um, Therefore, we are conscious, living in a simulation.
So we don't even exist. We're AI.
So we're if we are living in a simulation, we are some type of technology that was overcame the need for consciousness. So we're conscious beings, and that's the challenge that we've been talking about in previous episodes about, what's it gonna take to make AI really freaking smart like us, right? And it's really about, can we make this thing conscious?
Maybe someone's trying.
It starts thinking for itself. But in our case, like somebody would have to have mastered that. Therefore, for us to be conscious, because we are conscious.
Or maybe we are a failed experiment.
Or an ongoing experiment.
An ongoing or a failed one. Well, we tried to make them like us, but they turned out to be assholes.
They turned out to be very good. They're killing themselves. They're shooting up people and killing the environment.
Exactly.
They're haters.
Well, just let them die out.
Did you see that movie of Transcendence?
Transcendence.
With Johnny Depp?
Part of it.
You slept to it?
No, but it got crazy.
Yeah. But did you understand the whole thing?
Didn't watch all of it.
I didn't think it was a good movie. I still saw it though, but so basically what they're saying is that we can upload our conscience up to the freaking internet or to some device, right? And then you can basically you have unlimited power by uploading your conscience, because you can control anything that's connected to the internet, but therefore
the interwebs.
So they never point out in the movie how exactly this happens. I mean, the science behind it. But see, that's what has to happen for us to be like living in a freaking simulation. See, what I'm trying to do is not try to go with the flow and say, yes, we're living in a simulation. I'm trying to counter you. Because I just find it kind of like this is an insane question, but I think I find it very intriguing. It's just to as a mental exercise.
I mean, I'm not saying we are. I'm saying there's a big possibility.
Yeah, there's a possibility. There,
Yeah.
I mean, there is a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's freaking aliens in somewhere, and they're more advanced than we are, maybe, right?
Yep.
Maybe it could be. Um, but now let's say this: Would you? Would you? Um, I mean, when you played video games, because we're both video game players. I mean, do you have like these shit? Someone's calling me. Do you have these thoughts of
Oh,
simulating somebody?
simulating somebody?
Yeah, like obviously we create players in some video games and whatnot. But I mean, let me tell you what I'm going. Remember this game? Um, what was the freaking name of that fucking game where you could? It was an online game where it was like Grand Theft Auto, but not the Grand Theft Auto game. Do you remember that game? On Live or something? No, it's not that one. Some other name. But you could drop in like like you could create your own game. It's not the other one. SimCity. It's not that one either. It's the other one. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
There was one called Gary's Mod, where it was a big sandbox. You
Hmm.
could do whatever the fuck you wanted.
No, not that one. Well, anyway, there was this game that kind of worked like Grand Theft Auto in terms of being a big wide open game. Um, but I think it was like kind of related to the Matrix for some reason. I don't remember. But anyway, because that's what they wanted to create, like you being able to create your own character and then drop into somewhere in it's like the Matrix. So I was thinking, like in Grand Theft Auto, you can run over people, you can do a lot of things that you can normally not do, in real life. I think that's kind of like the addictive part of playing Grand Theft Auto. That you get to do a lot of stuff. Just shoot up people in the street, blow up cars with a railgun, with a bazooka. I mean, it's freaking fun. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
but because it's like living out a fantasy. But what I'm trying to say is, have you ever had like while playing those games had this urge to say, "Man, I wish I could drop myself into them."
No, because I would die pretty fast.
You would die in the game.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the main character, it's okay, but if you're one of the NPCs, you're gonna die.
No, well, I have. Like in Grand Theft Auto, I would wish like I would love to drop into this game and just like be myself in that game.
If I couldn't die, I would do it too.
Yeah,
I mean, if you
like
died
if you
because,
can, yeah, like cheat codes,
yeah,
like make use of the cheat codes. That's what I'm saying. Like have this unlimited power. Like just steal a freaking plane and you're flying it even though you don't know how to fly a plane. Ju- Jump on a helicopter and start flying a freaking helicopter. We don't know how to fly a helicopter.
is it like cartoony or is it like real life?
The one I'm saying,
Yeah.
it looked like real life.
So right now we could be in a game.
Yeah, it looked like real life.
We could be in a game and we're afraid to die, and maybe we can die.
Yeah,
Maybe we should do more stupid things. Take risks.
because we were saying the very first episode that we did was about virtual reality, and we talked about reality versus virtual reality. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That was 39 episodes ago. 38 episodes ago. That's insane. Um, and we talked about that when VR advances to a point where, we can actually spend more time in it. The jobs are going to change because there's going to be VR architects, VR designers, and all this stuff where we can create our own world. And that's also part of the conversation that Elon Musk was saying. That if you see all these advances, it's very hard not to think that we are living a simulation.
Yeah.
And VR is going to become kind of like the canvas of us simulating living in a simulation. Even though you and I are sitting here, our senses get addicted to this thing in our heads that we get sucked into it, like kind of like the video games, um, and that's freaking insane. Um, the other thing I was thinking about, like Star Trek. We were talking about Star Trek the last episode, the holodeck. Like that's a freaking simulation. That's as easy that Do people die in the holodeck? Do you remember?
No, I didn't watch Star Trek.
You didn't watch Star Trek. I'm trying to remember. Um, no, I don't think they did. Um,
I think there was an episode where they did,
yeah,
but that was like
it was
they,
hacked probably by the
something
board or
like
some
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But remember that? I mean, the holodeck is kind of like the closest thing to a simulation or simulating a simulation for yourself, and I think that's an addictive thing. I think that's kind of like where we're going after VR.
And we even talked about that about why would people wanna get out of
From
VR?
of VR and live here in the boring world.
Yeah, maybe our lives suck, and we decided to try out a new game where when you turn it on, that's when you're born.
Yeah.
It's a long ass game. When you die, the goggles come off. You're like, oh, okay, let's carry on with my sucky life. And maybe that was like a minute of some other time, and we thought it was, I don't know, this shit gets crazy.
What I'm trying to get to this is that I'm not really sure that we're living in a simulation. Um, I like to think, just to think about it, because it's interesting to think about. But I do think that we wish we were.
like we want to believe
Like,
that magic exists
yeah,
because we want there to be more. This can't be it. This
yeah,
can't be life.
yeah.
This
This can't be
suckiness.
just. Is this it?
Yeah, and it's fun to think about that.
Yeah.
Fun to think about magic. About, well, maybe
Yeah.
we're living in a simulation.
It's like
real.
it's fun to think that we can create a freaking elevator to space. I mean, it's just fun to think about, like, how the hell would you make that happen, right? Even though nobody's being able to crack it, even Google,
Yeah.
right? And I think that by us creating video games and then VR and all these things, we are very much, wish we could, it's like a fantasy. And I think humans are addicted to fantasies. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't be doing sci-fi and all this stuff. Because it's fun. I mean, it's hard to imagine just doing, is this it?
Yeah. It's depressing.
No, it is. I mean, some people accept it and, they live boring, dull lives. But us, it's like, we can't help ourselves.
No, they actually don't accept it. They actually think that
This is how it is.
no, that they're doing something and that eventually things will go their way. Eventually they'll save money to do what they want to do. Eventually. I don't think that there's a lot of people who are, well, I'm screwed. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. I'll never go on vacation. I'll never, because I think that would bring chaos to society. And maybe that's why credit was invented, so people can do all that shit without being depressive and shit. But yeah, I mean, think about it. If you can't go on a vacation, which supposedly your body needs and your mind needs every year, and you don't do it,
Supposedly.
supposedly, according to the new study brought to you by travel agencies.
According to the American dream.
Yeah, according to the American dream.
Because back in the day, remember 2-3 episodes ago when we talked about like the evolution of technology and we were we were talking about how back in the day, I mean, they all they ate was probably chicken and rice
Yeah.
and beans, right? Did those people take vacations?
No.
There was nothing. I mean, what's a vacation? Are you fucking kidding me? What is that? So vacation is really like a modern invention that supposedly we need because our lives are dull and boring. I just think that's insane. But anyway.
It's a reward system.
Yeah.
Just like in World of Warcraft.
And see, that's what I was saying, that I think we want to believe that I think that the fact that we like to entertain these crazy ideas that we're living in a simulation, that by itself makes us want to believe that it's possible. Because if we are creating technology to create another smart, something that's similar to us, that is enough of a motivation to believe that we could potentially be living in a simulation of somebody else. And I think that has more to do with in Elon Musk than anything else.
Yeah.
Like we just cannot help ourselves to think this way. Like if we go to a farmer and pose this question to him, he's gonna slap us in the freaking face.
Yeah.
Right?
You boys are crazy.
You motherfuckers are crazy. My family lived to this, right? And all this stuff. Like if we tell our grandparents this stuff, I mean we're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
We should be in fucking hell.
I don't even think they would understand it.
No. But any person that likes technology, this is like the holy grail of things. You know, these types of conversations. And I think it's like a drug, just to even, you know, talk about it or consider it in our brains. Because we get high on it.
And if we're not living in a simulation, can we?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if we're not, we're sure as hell gonna try.
Yeah, exactly.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that the motivation or the simple fact that we're talking about AI and trying to make something smart and all these things, to us, it's like it's addictive to think about because it gives us the possibility of creating a simulation for somebody else, a post-human simulation. We're more advanced.
There's an episode of Rick and Morty. Have you seen that TV show?
No.
It's a cartoon, Rick and Morty, where the thing is that there's a grandpa and he's brilliant, he's a genius, and he travels in space and does a lot of crazy shit. But that guy, in one episode, he creates like a mini city in his, I think it was his car battery.
Mm-hmm.
And that mini city, he visits it like every year, and he convinced all of them to do like a 9 to 5 thing, where I think that they were stepping on things all day, and that created power for his battery, hence he has an everlasting car battery.
Mm-hmm.
So when he went to visit them, he saw that none of them were doing what they were supposed to do. And it turned out that mini society that was created in that battery created another mini society,
yeah.
that fueled them. So they stopped fueling his car.
Yeah.
But they were okay with the energy because that mini society. And then he was like, well, I'm going to go tell those fuckers that they shouldn't be doing that. And he goes into that mini society. And there's another mini society inside that mini society that's powering them. And it goes like 3 or 4...
ad infinitum.
Yeah. Well, in the show, it goes like into five more steps. And the thing is, he has to liberate all the other societies, so that the one he created, the first one he created, has to keep powering his car. So it turns into at the beginning his grandson's like, you have slaves, you can't have slaves, and he's like, no, they're not slaves, blah blah blah, blah. And at the end he liberates everyone because I mean it was for his own purpose. But what I'm getting with this story is that, I mean, we could be a simulation. That's why we're trying to create a simulation with games like World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we're the first one, we're the second one, third one, fourth one. We don't know which one we are, if we are one.
Yeah.
And my question, I thought about this a few minutes ago. Are we creating World of Warcraft after ourselves? Or is it mimicking us? I mean, because it's so... What if that's what we know, so that's what we created, but that's what a generation before us is creating, or things we need... Yeah.
Well, that's the... I mean, because, ideally, you would not want to create a simulation of yourself. You would want to have a fantasy that is unlike your reality.
But World of Warcraft, I mean, it's in a fantasy setting, but
yeah,
we already talked about
By the way, the movie sucks.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I tried to. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I know it sucks. A lot of people are don't be like that. I know it sucks because there's no one making any publicity.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I know the movie sucks because they're not doing any publicity for it. None at all. I mean, when Civil War was was gonna be in theaters, they were doing a lot of publicity for it like a month before, like tons and tons and tons. And for Warcraft, they're not doing anything at all. So I know it's gonna suck.
um. Well, yeah. um. Okay, but anyway, do you were saying something about World of Warcraft that about the simulation? Or that was just it.
That was just it. I mean, we already talked about how it feels like a 9 to 5 job
Yeah.
or because you do a lot of stuff in the game that you don't want to do. You just wanna if you just wanna have fun, you got to do that stuff because I mean you need to get to level 100 to have access to a lot of stuff. So it's like a 9 to 5 grinding. You gotta grind. And I mean, why are we creating a game just like real life?
It feels yeah.
And it's the best selling game.
Then that's how you that's like a way to prove that we're not. Because if ideally if we were like for example like if we are on the path to create our own simulations, would you want to recreate your reality? No, that's why video games exist because you get to fantasize.
Yeah.
You don't get to do the same old shit that you do, on a day-to-day basis.
But World of Warcraft does all of this because it needs you entertained. It needs you there. Because if you play a game like BioShock Infinite, I mean, that's a beautiful game. The architecture, the design, the story, everything is just amazing. But you probably played for like 10 hours, 12 hours, and it's done. And that's it. I mean, you paid $60 and it's done, son. So in World of Warcraft, they need to get you like coming back um, because I don't know, there are a lot of tactics to get you to play a game. And that I think that's why they do it, and the I think it's also easy because that's what we're used to doing, like getting a habit, forming habits. So it's just they do it enough that you form a habit out of doing it. You gotta. I mean, the last expansion was they just basically did Farmville for World of Warcraft. You need to go in every day and get
and crops and shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, in my case, it
the
was
mechanics
my
of cropping.
Yeah, it was my mind because if you don't go in that day and you go the next day, you only get one like supply run. So you go in every day and you double your supply run. If you just go to like one day yeah and one day no, but I mean they're doing that shit. And you had me there doing that because I wanted to get like really epic weapons because I could get epic weapons, but there were a few things that I mean I couldn't create the materials I needed because it had a daily cooldown also. So yeah.
Unbelievable.
Games are not about fun, are about making you addicted to them.
Addicted to them, yeah. Well, you get fun out of that. Well, I think that we should leave it at that. All right. So what? Interesting topic, to say the least. But what do you guys think? Do you guys believe that we're living in a simulation? Why do you believe that? If you do believe it, why don't you believe? I mean, why do you believe if you don't believe it? And how do you prove that we are?
Yeah, or that we aren't.
Or that we aren't. All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week.